how do we incentivize students to keep coming?
Yeah.
I think it all comes back to education is not just like putting knowledge into someone's throat.
Yeah.
It's like about an experience.
Yeah.
It should be more than just maybe the fiat education where you go into a classroom and you learn, but it's like being active, have activities, communicate with each other, and like really make it an experience. Like you can do your first Bitcoin payments in many different ways. One is like, okay, I send you 10 sats, well done. Or there are platforms online, for example, you can feed a goat online with a webcam for 10 sats, and as soon as the payment is received, the food comes out of the machine, and people are like, whoa, is this Bitcoin? It's like programmable money, and I can build. Like, just as one example, and you can do that on many levels.
Yeah.
So the first thing is like, think about how to really engage with your students more than just this is the workbook I have to go through. And the training program that I mentioned that we offer is also like helping with that, and everyone finds their own ways. And then your other question was how to support people, how people can support my first Bitcoin, right? I think the first thing is people need to understand the problem. If you just only give them solutions, which is Bitcoin, they're never going to get it.
Oh, wow.
So it starts with meet them where they are. Some people everyone has different problems, right? For some people, it may be financial inclusion. For some, it may be the inflation. For others, it may be having access to like digital payments in general, so all these things. But what I notice very often is like when you start to explain about the history of money, which is also the part of the Bitcoin diploma, right? Then people start to like, okay, I actually start to understand that something is wrong with our money system. I always felt it, but now I can understand it better. So there's nothing about Bitcoin yet. It's just explaining the state of central banks and governments and debts and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
And only then you make the step towards Bitcoin. But that is like for everyone, there's a different road. But yeah, it's not the solution to just start educating about like mining and nodes and the technology right away before identifying what is the problem that it solves for them.
So, hello guys. Thank you so much for joining Beyond Adversity BTC podcast. And we are really grateful that you are here with us. And today we are so excited. We are hosting my first Bitcoin, and this is our first episode to go live, and it is something that we don't take for granted. We truly appreciate, and that is something that it shows growth, and of course, you know, it gives us the will to continue doing whatever we do. So make sure that you get to subscribe, make sure that you get to share. So before doing anything, I'd love you to introduce yourself. Tell us what my first Bitcoin is, then we'll pick it from there.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Arnold from My First Bitcoin. We're a nonprofit that provides open source Bitcoin education. So what we try to do is to make curricula, workbooks, tools and resources and spread it to the world, amongst which we also have Kenya, many educators here. We built curricula, but also like a social movement, social layer of educators to learn from each other. We started teaching on the ground, like we were the educators in the first place in El Salvador. But right now we focus on supporting educators worldwide. So we move more towards educators like yourself than finding the students.
Wow. Thank you so much for creating your time and making sure that you are here with us. So something that already you know is that if you've been interacting with the Beyond Adversity Academy, you've been realizing that we have been using a curriculum from My First Bitcoin. So that is the curriculum we are talking about. And I think the first time I heard about Bitcoin from Ronnie, the first thing he did a transaction first. And then the second thing that he did, he gave me a link to My First Bitcoin. That is where, that was my first time to interact with My First Bitcoin. And what I did was funny. I went and printed all the leaflets. Like now it was physical to me.
Yeah.
You know? Because sometimes I don't know if you guys also experience the same thing. When maybe you are reading a book online versus physical, there is a way when it is physical, it kind of have your attention more.
Right.
Yeah, so that is how I interacted with My First Bitcoin.
It's your origin story. How long ago was that?
I think, is it 2023, like 2 years now?
Okay. Wow.
So at that time I was doing education, but not Bitcoin. So when I check the advantages of Bitcoin, how it was, then I realized too that I need to incorporate that into whatever that I was doing. And that is how I started my Bitcoin education.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that is something that I must recommend. And I think it is open source. Somebody can use it.
It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't charge for anything.
So one thing that I'd love to know, because we have a couple of stuff like Bitcoiners, we have mining, we have trading, all such stuff. So why Bitcoin education?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think the first thing why education, right? And then the next step is why Bitcoin education.
Yeah.
Because like right now, if you look at the world of education, it's very much like also the fiat structure.
Yeah.
Like you're learning what the government tells you to learn, which is not what is money and not how to do taxes and not how to take control of your life, right? So like that is already like one thing. Like if we don't do education in the way that My First Bitcoin offers it, we will never have the proper Bitcoin education.
True.
Or it will be commercialized, so it will be companies promoting their product, like whatever exchange, Coinbase, Binance, they would push their own product, right?
Yeah, their own product.
So it's not independent, it's not neutral. So what we try to do is first of all bring this different type of education that is like not affiliated to governments or companies. So we're a non-profit. And then like why Bitcoin education? Well, I think Bitcoin is the most fascinating thing that happened in this century, right? The first time we have the most scarce money in the world, the first time we can transact digitally without a middleman. True. We need to educate. People have no idea about this.
Yeah. So maybe before we go on, maybe you can touch what money means to you and maybe what is Bitcoin to you. Yeah.
So what money means to me?
Yeah.
For a long time I always saw it just as like something that is just part of society, right? Since I started to learn about Bitcoin, I started to see that everything you do in your life is shaped around money.
Yeah.
Whether you go to a store and you buy something, whether you work and you exchange your time for money, whatever you do, 50% of the equation is money.
Yeah, it's money.
And if that 50% is corrupted, then the other 50% is automatically also not fully optimal. And then I started to look at money differently, right? It's a tool, but also should be something that should preserve your time and energy, your work, and just your savings.
Yeah.
And that's like why Bitcoin. Well, that is the answer to me. Like
that also brings me to an excitement. There is this personal feeling that we always have, like the urge of doing something. You find that when you have money, there is a certain way you feel, and when you don't have money, there is a certain way you feel. So it's kind of affects your whole being in a certain way. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
But then if you ever got that feeling, per se, when you found out about Bitcoin, how was the shift from that? Because it is a shift.
It is. It brings peace of mind to some extent. I remember when before Bitcoin, I was always looking into things to like get rich quickly, to get more dollars or euros. And now you have Bitcoin is like, I don't have Bitcoin to get more dollars. I have Bitcoin to have less dollars or less shillings. Because Bitcoin is the way out, right? It's not to go back. So, no, and then besides that, Bitcoin teaches you so many things like lower your time preference, be patient, think long term, think about like value that you create, like give back, and all such kind of things that I never noticed when I was just playing around with euros.
Wow. I think one of the things that you can get to do, make sure that if you have a question or a comment, make sure that you drop it there, then we can get to talk about them. So as a Bitcoin educator, one of the things that we find is that when you get to teach people about Bitcoin, now we have the volatility issue, which is not a problem for me. Because for me, I know when it is down, that is my time to stack it. When it is up, that is now where I get to celebrate. But then, regardless of the price speculation, how do we always, as an educators, how can we bring that perspective to our students? Because you find that I would rather say it is a challenge, because maybe today maybe the price is this, tomorrow is this. Then you are teaching somebody about it. Yeah. So what will you say about that?
Well, people get very comfortable with holding money that is not stable either. Like whether it's the shilling or the euro, there is inflation, but it feels like 1 shilling is 1 shilling, 1 euro is 1 euro. That may be true, but you cannot buy the same thing with it if you wait 2 years, right? So maybe your perception is that you're holding on to something that is very stable, but actually it is not.
It is not,
And then if you start to understand why it is unstable, it is unstable by design. It is created in a way that it needs inflation. It's based on debt. It needs more printed money. And then you look at Bitcoin, it's like, wait, this is actually engineered to be completely sealed. There cannot be more. So I'll take these fluctuations for granted because I know that the foundation at least is more stable.
Yeah, I think that does make sense because I think it is in 2024 around July or June, when you look at the value of 1,000 Kenyan shillings, it is at 674. Did you know that? Because let me say that is now the inflation thing.
To the dollar?
How many dollar that is? 670. That is about 8 or 7. $7. Yeah, 674. 5 or 6. So if you have, let us say for instance $10 in Kenyan shillings, what happened is that the value of that $10 in Kenya, when you want to buy something, you have almost $7 or $6. So you find that the $3 goes to inflation,
right?
Because the same bread we used to buy maybe around maybe $1, it is the same bread, but right now you'll find that it is maybe 1.5.
Yeah,
which some people know, some doesn't know, but then it is an issue, the inflation thing,
So then in volatility in Bitcoin, there is volatility in shilling too.
In shillings,
but you maybe don't see it.
In shillings too. So it is also a mindset, like there is a way we view things, right?
Yeah.
Let me say, for instance, for the experience that you have, maybe training people, interacting with people, there is a way they used to think, right? So how do you always interact with these mindsets?
So I think the first thing is people need to understand the problem. If you just only give them solutions, which is Bitcoin, they're never going to get it.
Oh, wow.
So it starts with meet them where they are. Everyone has different problems, right? For some people, it may be financial inclusion. For some, it may be the inflation. For others, it may be having access to like digital payments in general, so all these things. But what I notice very often is like when you start to explain about the history of money, which is also the part of the Bitcoin diploma, right? Then people start just like, okay, I actually start to understand that something is wrong with our money system. I always felt it, but now I can understand it better. So there's nothing about Bitcoin yet. It's just explaining the state of central banks and governments and debts and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
And only then you make the step towards Bitcoin. But that is like for everyone, there's a different road. But yeah, it's not the solution to just start educating about like mining and nodes and the technology right away before identifying what is the problem that it solves for them.
So we must start with the problem from wherever they are.
Yes.
So Bitcoin is not just an asset. For me, I feel it's like a system, right? That's now where we talk about money, technology, and of course philosophy.
Yeah.
And of course education, it is something that has been here, But then there is a way, Bitcoin education gives us an opportunity to think about the thing that we want to know. There is a difference between learning the things that they want you to know and the things that you want to know.
It comes back to also the education in fiat. Like you're going to a school and you have to learn what is being taught, right? So you're kind of forced to do it to some extent.
Yeah, true.
But most of the people, or almost everyone who's learning about Bitcoin, is doing it voluntarily because there is a spark, there's this curiosity, there is this philosophy around it, and that makes it so much more fun to learn things, right?
Yeah, I'm curious, So because I perceive that when you were born, you weren't born in Bitcoin, right?
When I was born,
when you were born, maybe they never, Bitcoin wasn't there at that time. No. So it means that maybe you come across it at some point. So I'm curious to know, what was your first experience with Bitcoin and what sparked the journey that now we are?
So I studied as a product designer. I was working with some classmates, and we just were curious about what was happening in 2017, 18. Like all the altcoins became big, and they were all different. And I was curious, like, what is the difference between them? And then as I was learning about it, I started writing about it online. And I I wrote about everything except Bitcoin because it was boring. Like it doesn't change, it's not fast, it's not having decentralized apps, and it doesn't have all these cool features. But then you start to learn that all these crypto is only promises and it's not solving real problems. We go back to the problems that I mentioned. And then I start to learn more about the world. Like 2019, 2020, there was COVID, geopolitics, like banks are printing money like crazy. And like I was already like following Bitcoin for a couple of years, but then I started to connect Bitcoin not to crypto, but I started to connect it to like the dollar, the euro, the shilling, etc. And then you start to look very different at Bitcoin. You start to see it as a monetary thing for geopolitics, and not as like a cool digital token that can do things. And then you start to look at it different, and then it becomes like a mindset.
Okay. So your first transaction, can you really remember?
That's a good question. Like I did a couple of shitcoin transactions first. I remember some of that, but it's not interesting. I do remember, not the first transaction, but I do remember I wasn't very educated myself yet. So I was always thinking that the Bitcoin address is equal to like your public key, or like, so I was just always keeping track of my address, and I put all my Bitcoin on like an on-chain address. And then at some point I sent some Bitcoin, and how Bitcoin works is then like it puts all the other Bitcoin on a new address, like there's a change. And I was checking the address like, oh, my Bitcoin is gone. Where is it? But I just didn't understand how Bitcoin works with like the technical things with UTXOs and like, so that was a big lesson. That's a transaction I remember is like, I made a mistake, but I didn't. Bitcoin was smarter than I was.
Well, I think it is more of a shift from not having to having. That is how I take it when I educate my people. Like, even if you need to get something, there is a way you need to empty certain things in order for you to accumulate whatever you want to, right?
Yeah.
So that brings me to my question, where that you'll find that we had a certain curriculum that was happening already, right? Like let us say for instance, maybe we had a curriculum for financial literacies, curriculum for it all existed, right? So what did you find that was lacking around the thing that people are learning about, freedom? That when I talk of freedom, I mean financially free. So what was that lacking that you felt like my first Bitcoin will have leverage more than that?
I think there is in the Bitcoin space. There's always a lot of different resources, right? There's a lot of videos on YouTube. There is like books and PDFs, but it's all very scattered, and you have to collect it, and then you're just on your own trying to learn. So what we tried to do with my first Bitcoin is, well, first of all, we started teaching ourselves, and then you try to create your own resources, and Bitcoin teaches us that to collaborate and to be open source. So of course we do the same for education, right? So then we have the Bitcoin diploma, and we developed the intro course as well, which is also open source on our website. And then people could start to take it as well. And as we were building that, we also learned it's not only the resources, but it's also the teachers like yourself that need to be connected to other teachers
at least
teaching the same diploma. And now this education becomes like Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin NOS, like a protocol. So if I talk about chapter 3, you know what chapter 3 is. If you talk about the activity of the barter game, and then like if we have a network of 100, 200, 300 educators, we can help each other out, because now we are not like doing random things with random videos and random books, but we're iterating on like this open source standard. We improve and we speak the same language. And if you need help for explanations of chapter 3, at least we all know what it is. You see?
So it is like pushing a certain Bitcoin education for a global thing, like more of a global mission.
Yeah, we started teaching in El Salvador. We taught like 25,000 students on the ground in public schools and restaurants. But because it was open source, people from I think Bitcoin Ekazi, Bitcoin Ubuntu from South Africa, Bitcoin Jungle, Circular Economies, the OGs, they started to ask, can we take it? It's like, of course. And then as they started to take it, it was not only my first Bitcoin, but like 3, 4, and then 10, and then 20. And today it's like 83 projects. Well, whoa. 84, because you're yourself as well, and I didn't include you yet.
BAP is joining that. And that is a real, wow, I'm so excited about that. And I can't wait, you know.
And in the network, like it is 84 right now, but let's say there's 200 people, and I'm aware of 83, 84 of them. We try to exchange the best practices. We maybe you have problem with student retention, or you're focusing on kids. So we need to make a workbook for kids. And maybe there's like 5 others that are teaching kids, so we can bring you in touch with each other. Or we it's like everything that we do basically the same on other places of the world, but we should not be silos. We should be connected and exchange things.
Well, I think that is the essence of Bitcoin. So for me, I think Bitcoin has a way of connecting us. You know?
That's why we're here.
Why we're here, that is because of Bitcoin. And there is a way, I think, knowledge changes our mindset. Especially right now, all the tensions that we have, when you check them well, maybe I'd rather say maybe 70% are all tied to finances, you know. And for me, I think money is an illusion, because for me, I believe that money is a tool that we use to get what we want. We don't need money, but there is something that we need beyond it.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
And that is maybe somebody somewhere doesn't see it that way. Now that you are engaging the educators, you know, the learners, how do you get to manage the kinds of perspective they have? Because I know people have different perspective. The way you see this is different than the way I see this. It's just all about the conviction that we all have. You know. So how do you always go about that?
So I don't think I don't need an opinion. What we try to do is create a decentralized network as well, that all the voices can be shared, and you find something valuable from another educator, and maybe not from me, or from all of them, but the fact that we are connected, I think that's the strength of Bitcoin. So maybe I have suggestions or best practices or challenges that you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I know how to find my students. I know how to graduate them. But then other people do have those issues, right? There is not one single solution for everyone, and the conversation is how we can learn from each other.
Yeah, true. And that is we always have a tagline on Beyond Adversity that we always say, there is no wrong or right, both are just perspectives. So we'll never allow ourselves to collide in terms of our convictions, because we already know maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. What if you're right? Right? So it always gives us an essence for us to be together, and of course, you know.
And what Satoshi said, or not sure if Satoshi, stay humble.
Stay humble.
I don't know everything. People always ask me, like, you're from my first Bitcoin, you know how to run education projects. I don't know. The only thing I know is that everyone is having a different problem. And that maybe if I can connect the same problems, there becomes a solution that I'm not even aware of, right? It's decentralized. It's resilient.
Okay. So let us say, for instance, because the people that we admire, wherever they are, is the difference. The difference that we have between the people that we admire to be like is the level of information they have. That is number one. And number two, maybe the kind of relationship they have, which I believe the kind of relationships is brought by the level of the capacity that you have.
Confidence, network.
Yeah, so it's like an alignment. Like you're aligning what you have with what you don't have. So it is like a vibration in between. So I'd love to know, because everything starts somewhere, right? So I'd love to know which country, let me say, you originated maybe from El Salvador, right? And I'd love to know which other country went second and why.
Second in terms of?
In terms of like expanding what you're doing, like executing the nodes idea that you had before.
So I think every single country is next.
Wow.
We just need to find the right community leaders and educators to support them, right? So right now in Kenya, like we have Felix, the core, we have Bitcoin School Kenya, Linda from BitSavers, yourself, and more that I think will join since we had this great unconference last week. But then in, let's say, Nigeria, there is like 6-7 other people teaching the Bitcoin diploma.
Wow.
And in South Africa, there's 5. And like all over the world, people start to find My First Bitcoin. And you don't need permission. You can just start. So what is the next country? Number 2, well, we are not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like we are just the protocol for education, right? We don't open a headquarters or we don't open like offices or whatever. But what we try to do is focus on the educators that are trusted in their local community, again, like yourself, and make sure they or you have the tools. And then maybe people are watching is like, I don't have any Bitcoin education in my village yet. Well, that means that you are the one that should bring it there, right? Not My First Bitcoin. Because what do we have to do in your village? Like you are the person who knows the context. You know the village chief, the community leaders. You know best how to do it. You speak the local language. So we just want to empower people to join the revolution, basically.
So when you talk about education, Bitcoin education, so for me I see it like it is like a financial sovereignty, also in underserved communities, where maybe you find that some have no access to bank accounts, maybe because of the paperwork that is needed. Like in Kenya, you need to have a national ID. You need to have a KRA pin for you to have a bank account. So to me, in order for you to get a KRA, you must have a national ID. So if you lack national ID, then you are exempted from this. Yeah. So with Bitcoin education, how do you think it's bringing the inclusivity thing all over the world?
Yeah, it starts with just like, again, knowledge, how to use a wallet, set it up. You don't need to understand everything. You don't need to know about mining or a node or the mempool or all these technical things or the history of the dollar, the history of the shilling. If you just have this wallet, you are ready to go. And the next step is like, I think what we need more in Bitcoin is that we are all already doing our things. Like maybe you're a podcaster or you're a graphic designer or you're an artist, and start offering your services for Bitcoin. Like you can accept it now, but not only with people in your village because you use cash, or only with people in Kenya because you have M-Pesa, but you can also offer graphic design services to people in everywhere, right? Because now you are like, the world is open, like there's no borders for where your money can flow. So like the next step is continue providing value, but to a bigger market. Yeah.
So to me, each and every person must be an educator in one way or the other. Because for me, I believe that if I am okay and my circle is not okay, I am not okay in a certain way. More so with the level of information that you have. So I believe that each and every person, must have the ability, not even must, willingly, you may need to impact those that are around you. Something that you know, make sure that they know, at least to make a world a better place, So about education, what we are trying to do, Bitcoin education, is that we are trying to protect ourselves against local currency instability or economic barriers, Like, let me say, for instance, we have the challenges. I believe each and every country do. But then how does it how do we accept the challenges and how are we going through them, right? So from your side as a Bitcoin educator, you've experienced this, so what is the essence of the curriculum against the local currency instability? Guys, we are not against local currency. We are against instability and economic challenges. That is what we are talking about.
We're all doing things locally, right? Yeah. So there's nothing wrong about local. So I think, because the diploma and everything that we do is open source, every educator can also change it to what is needed locally, right? So, for example, there's a project in Indonesia. They gave the example that I'm not sure about the shilling. Maybe it's the same. They have a currency that does not have decimals, so it's like it's 1, 2, 3, but you cannot have like 1.5.
Wow.
So there's in euro in my country you can order something for €2.50. So, but how are you going to explain fractions if you're like of satoshis in Bitcoin, right? If you don't even have it in your own national local currency, then you need to adjust your curricula or how you educate to like local context, local needs. You get examples of like maybe like a papaya, you cut it in half and there's like 10,000 seeds in it. That is Bitcoin. There is one Bitcoin, and if you cut it in half, there is very small things. Like these kind of things, you need to speak the language of the people. Just like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now. But every country, that's different, right? There's different ways how to use the Bitcoin diploma and change it a little bit so it works for your context. Or maybe you don't have to change it because it's already some chapters work for you.
Well, I think that is the essence. And when we are talking about when you're talking about the nodes, I needed us to talk about the node network.
Yes.
Under my first Bitcoin. So of course I'll allow you to tell us what node network is and how can somebody be part of the network.
Great question. This is my most favorite thing of my first Bitcoin. This is also what I'm in charge of. Like we have people on the team that create the curricula, people that do the technology, people that do everything with the finance. But I'm just in charge of finding community leaders and educators to join the Node network or the education network. And what it is just, like I just said, the social layer of Bitcoin education. And everyone can be part of it as long as you do Bitcoin only. So we don't allow shitcoins. You're independent, so you're not here to promote whatever company. Nothing against companies, but like it should not be mixed with education. You're impartial, you're community-led, so everything's grassroots. It's not like top-down. And focus on quality, and also finally empowerment over profit. So it's not about getting rich, but it's about getting free. And of course, our wealth will increase with Bitcoin, right? But that's not the first focus. It is about being empowered. So like those are the 6 pillars of the network. Everyone can apply. You fill in a form, you sign a document, an MOU, and then we onboard you to the network if you're accepted, because I don't decide if you can be part of it or not. It's like the network itself, it's decentralized. And then when you are accepted, we onboard you to the network. We have calls, we share all the resources, the lesson plan guide for teachers, the diploma again. We have AI tools to help you prepare your classes, an online school like a learning management system, a community hub with wikis. So like then we share all of this with people that join the network, and it's already open source anyway. But like we do some more support as well with the educators, tap them into the network, make sure they know their peers, like Bitcoin, right? Like the other nodes. And now you're connected with them and you can learn. And for example, if you're going to be teaching an online class at some point, chapter 5, you can ask who wants to join me teaching chapter 5. And all such kind of things. And you will stay in the loop of all the new resources. So if we launch Bitcoin for Juniors, a new workbook, well, you're in our network. If we launch Bitcoin for kids, maybe in a year for older ages. Or maybe there's going to be Bitcoin for plumbers, whatever is needed. Okay,
I think that is the best part of it that I needed to get into. So Beyond Adversity BAP Academy, that is now we are taking we are doing boot camps for kids, and that is the best part for me. Like as educators, the problem is the teaching content. Sometimes you might have the will to change somebody's life. But then, each and everything needs a roadmap. More of, if I do this, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? What am I going to do next?
And everyone is on that journey, even as an educator, but also as a student.
Even as an educator. Now you know this, you need to know something. You need to know something. So I am curious to know this, because when I check at the curriculum, it fits, It fits like when you go to Kenya, it resonates with that. If you go to Tanzania, it resonates with that. So what criteria did you use at least to make sure that, it covers all the problems that we have all over the world?
I think your mic fell off. But I think eventually Bitcoin is like, the elephant in a dark room, and everyone is blindfolded, and you try to like, what is this? Some people have the tail, and it's like, oh, I can paint with it. This is like a brush. Other people have like the iron part, and it's like, oh, this is something that is shiny or jewelry. And everyone is saying something else, but everyone is looking at the same thing. And that is, I think, what Bitcoin is for me. Like if you are maybe like in China, for example, with central bank digital currencies, you look at Bitcoin very different than if you're in Argentina with hyperinflation, and very different than when you are in Kenya with financial inclusion, or very different than maybe in Afghanistan where women cannot open a bank account. But we're all looking at the same thing. So it's just a matter of perspective you put on Bitcoin is the mirror that gives you back that things can be different. So I think that's a little bit one part of the answer. And the other part is as well, we try with our workbook to teach people how to think and not what to think. And if you learn how to think, you can find the solutions yourself. We don't tell you like, this is the best wallet. No, these are all the wallets that exist. And maybe the wallet in Kenya is better than the one that we have in mind for the world, right? You prefer a wallet that's connected with M-Pesa. I don't need that. But we still use the same workbook, but we need to teach people how to think and not say, use this wallet, do it this way, do it that way, because then we're dictating, which is fiat.
Wow. I think that is the best part of it, just to make sure that everyone is flexible to explore whatever they want to explore. So the thing that we try to do is that we try to simplify complex concepts for beginners. That is number one thing. Second thing is building trust in communities, right? Because in El Salvador, if I'm not wrong, it was introduced in schools, right?
Yeah.
Right. I saw something also in UAE. They are allowing Bitcoin education in schools. I saw that. Did you saw? Is it 2025 to 2026 curriculum? I guess something of that. So you can check and see. So how did you build trust, like with the community, with the schools?
I think it's several ways. Like El Salvador was unique because it came top down. Like the government wanted to do something, which is not grassroots, which is not, I think grassroots is always better. But there was this thing that needed to be done. We've always been very grassroots, but we just started teaching. We start to make the curriculum. You start to create proof of work. And when things are good enough and appreciated and start to grow, then you build trust, right? You're not going to get trust with words, but with proof of work. But being on the ground, like being like in the community, connect with people. I think that's how we build trust. And that doesn't only apply to where we were teaching in the first place. Like we don't do it anymore. We're a global nonprofit right now. We don't focus on students, but on educators. But the same principle remains. Like my first Bitcoin is all about the people. Bitcoin is about people, but my first Bitcoin as well. Like if we have a workbook and no one is using it, what are we doing, right? So we need to have trust, empowerment, and encouragement as well. Very often what it is people start teaching and they feel alone in their community. Like there's no one else. How can I ever achieve this huge mission? It's like, well, you are not alone. You just need to know where to find these people, right? And maybe like 10 or 20 of them in Kenya that are educators. Like not only like students, but really taking the next step in the journey to become an educator and a community leader. But then in other countries, people do the same. Like Tanzania, Uganda, we met them the past days. But how about Burundi? How about Congo? And like there's so many more. So this is again, like we also... we have this reputation as a network. We built we received the trust from the proof of work, and then we learn together.
I think that is something that we really need to do because I think it is the keystone, like a pillar when you're working with the community. Like right now, the way you've mentioned, like proof of work. Before somebody believes in you, he needs to see or she needs to see, are you really doing what you're talking about? And that is the essence. And I know educators are watching. So for me, I always focus on understanding before investing, because when you talk of investment, it is not always about money. Even the knowledge that we give, it is an investment. The time that we it is an investment, you know. So what are some of the things that educators need to know, to understand before investing this knowledge too?
That's a good question. What do educators need to know before like really going down with their project? Well, the very first answer is like, just get started. You can have a lot of excuses to not do it, and like maybe this will happen, maybe this will happen. How do I get good enough? First of all, get started. Like maybe even with 5 people, like do it like on a Saturday afternoon. Find your students, run a mini cohort or only the intro course, and you get a feeling of it. And then you will see where you have to learn as an individual. Maybe it is to become more confident with the resources. We, at My First Bitcoin, offer educator training programs. So if then you want like, okay, I really want to do this, but I need more confidence. You can learn together with our teachers. And we just practice public speaking pedagogy, or we make sure you have the resources. Or maybe you get started like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Like I'm lacking activities. I'm losing the attention and focus of my students. You only learn it by starting and doing. And once you have that problem, you come to the network. It's like, I don't know what to do. Like chapter 9 of the diploma is too technical. And then maybe other people have the same thing, and then you share, right? So the only way how to grow is to get out of your comfort zone. Just do it. Accept excuses, but know that you will find answers as well. Is that a little bit what your answers your question?
Yeah, true. It does make sense, because it is more of like standardizing learning globally while adopting locally. You know, like we are trying to see our world, because now our world, I won't say that I'm in Kenya, that I don't have access to America. Like right now, internet has given us an opportunity where we feel like the world is like a global village, you know, where we get to, if I can get to talk to somebody in US, like right now, then there is a possibility we are exchanging values.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But when we talk about that, there is a way somebody needs to see that, especially to the rural areas or underserved communities. So how will you say such a thing maybe to an educator who wants to work with the rural areas where maybe even the internet is a challenge, you know, the network is a challenge? Because all this, we rely on the network in order for them to, you know. So what would you say?
That even this, you're not the only one trying to solve the same problems. Like in our network, in the Node network, we have a project in Haiti. They also did not have internet or electricity when they wanted to start teaching. They also had to translate the diploma to Creole. But they're running their 3rd or 4th cohort now. Or in Cuba, right? It's very rough to get started there as well. They had the same issues. We're in touch with a project in Malawi. It's what was it? Bitcoin study hubs. They also want to go to remote areas. No cell phone, no computers. But again, like you just need to find the like-minded people. Doesn't always need to be in the US. The people in the US can share other best practices with you, but the ones in Haiti or like in Burundi, BTC Schule is teaching a diploma, and they always had issues with finding offline wallets to spend. So they found solutions with eCash. As long as the merchant has Wi-Fi, they can receive. But if the students are on the street, you don't need Wi-Fi as a sender. Like all these kind of things. You're not the only one trying to solve this when you are in rural areas. So exactly what you say, like act locally, but make sure you get the benefit from the local network of people doing exactly what you're doing in terms of education.
So guys, what we're talking about is that we are trying to think locally, of course act globally. That's just to make sure that we get the essence of this. I don't know, do we have questions from the audience, or you can just check from the live session if we have? Do we have?
And maybe once they're looking for the questions, I have something to say as well.
Please do.
Because you mentioned it, like everyone is on a journey, right? Maybe you're a beginner. That means that you start with an intro course. Maybe you know a little bit of Bitcoin, then you start doing the Bitcoin diploma. Maybe you finish the diploma, then you can do the training program. when you do a training program, maybe you want to become a community leader.
Yeah.
And when you're a community leader, you can start to inspire other people to go take the same journey.
Yeah.
So no matter where you are on the journey, there is a next step to take.
Oh yeah.
And it's never that you finish learning or finish building, right?
Wow. So it is like a staircase.
A staircase, yes.
So we keep on growing. So before we end it up, because I'd really love to talk about this. So each and everything which has a start, we must be having an end. So before we end it up, I always do have some questions that we do ask our audience.
Okay.
So we'll have to. So first question is, what is one global universal rule? Yeah, one
global universal
rule. If you could have a chance to make it work, what could it be?
Be kind and be patient.
Sorry.
Or Bitcoin based.
Yeah. So we'll go Bitcoin based and of course general.
Okay. So generally, I would say be kind and be patient.
Be kind and be patient.
That's the first one. In Bitcoin, it is see what incentives you there are in the space. Right, everything, especially when you're starting, there's so many things that you can get distracted by. We already talked about crypto and shitcoins. That's the first one. But also in Bitcoin, there's so many forces. Make sure you pay attention to what you're doing. Don't take everything for granted. Don't trust verify. Do your own research, and that's the only way how to really take agency over your knowledge and not just fall for any kind of propaganda. Even though Bitcoin is teaching us to a lot of things. There are also things in Bitcoin that you should be aware of. That's
I think one of the biggest things that we need to do is to be intentional in everything that we do. Make sure that the information that we consume, everything that we see, each and every action, make sure that you do your research before engaging with something. That is, I think, the best thing. So maybe your part in short about my first Bitcoin to our audience.
Sorry?
Maybe your part in short when we are finishing up the convo. Oh, there is a comment.
Yeah, there's a comment. I also have a personal question.
Oh, nice.
The first, I'll start with the comment. Someone has asked, you talked about there's a diploma in Bitcoin. Is there a master's program in Bitcoin?
Wow.
How does someone scale their level of education?
That's a good question, yeah. So how do people scale the level of education? At my first Bitcoin, we always try to focus on introductory education and then go very broad, which can be for juniors, it's different introductory than for kids or maybe for women or for elderly people. And you can, from that foundation, go very far. Like the Bitcoin diploma teaches you what is a node, what is a miner, but not how to set up a miner or set up a node, right? I think if you go through the diploma, you should have enough equipment to find the next steps yourself. But that's not something that we necessarily focus on. So we don't offer the master's program, but we do offer the training program to become an educator, right? So because we keep focusing on introductory education. So yeah, not masters necessarily, but there's a lot of steps to take. Like I just said, in the student journey, the staircase continues. But at some point you become the educator and then you find your resources or your network.
Wow.
Awesome. For me, I have two questions for you.
Sure.
One is, how do you incentivize learners to keep on coming back? Yeah. And the second one is, if someone wants to support you, if someone wants to support my first meeting, what is the best way to support what you're doing?
Thank you. Good questions. So first, how do we incentivize students to keep coming?
Yeah.
I think it all comes back to education is not just like putting knowledge into someone's throat. Yeah. It's like about an experience. Yeah. It should be more than just maybe the fiat education where you go into a classroom and you learn, but it's like being active, have activities, communicate with each other, and like really make it an experience. Like you can do your first Bitcoin payments in many different ways. One is like, okay, I send you 10 sats, well done. Or there are platforms online, for example, you can feed a goat online with a webcam for 10 sets, and as soon as the payment is received, the food comes out of the machine, and people are like, whoa, is this Bitcoin? It's like programmable money, and I can build. Like, just as one example, and you can do that on many levels. So the first thing is like, think about how to really engage with your students more than just this is the workbook I have to go through. And the training program that I mentioned that we offer is also like helping with that, and everyone finds their own ways. And then your other question was how to support people, how people can support My First Bitcoin, right? Yeah. So, like I mentioned, we are independent, impartial, neutral. So everything we do is based on donations. We're not a company. We're not selling anything. So that's the only way, I would say, how you can support is go to our website and donate. We accept Bitcoin. Everything is no strings attached. So if you support, you're not going to get your name or your company or your product into the workbook, right? So that's the way how to do it. Besides that, we do receive grants as well from like the Human Rights Foundation or similar organizations, but the grassroots support is super important. So on the website, donate some sats, and we keep building and spreading.
Wow. I think that is.
And with
great.
that, also put spotlight on educators. Again, it's part of it, right? If you support My First Bitcoin, you support the entire network.
Oh wow, and that is. I think that is it. Like the spotlight thing, that is it, because it kinda give an exposure to meet a lot of people, you know.
Especially if you feel alone. It's like, okay, no, but people see me. Right.
So maybe your parting shot to our audience, then we.
It is a little bit like I said at the unconference, like everyone is somewhere at a journey. There is always something to do, and you can become a teacher, you can become a community leader. We have all the resources for free. Connect to the educators in your area and make sure you become that example for people that you look up to. And maybe right now it is the core in Kenya or any of the other nodes, but you can become that person in your community. Don't wait for permission.
Yeah, true. No permission. If you want to do it, just do it. So, guys, at Beyond Adversity, this is what we do, and we make sure that we nurture resilient community through the stories that we bring. And we believe that our stories also gives you an hope to keep going, regardless of whatever you're passing through. So thank you, guys. Make sure that you share with your friends this impactful conversation, and I truly appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
You've been so generous with your time. That is something that we don't take for granted.
It's a pleasure.
See you next time, guys. Cheers.
Okay, bye.